A US pastor is making rounds on social media because of what he said about women and marriage. Let's have a look.
I thought that when we get married, it's for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and health, to love, cherish, and obey. And look, even if your marriage is messed up, you know what? You made your bed, lay in it. If you're married to a drunk, sorry, you're married to a drunk. If you're married to a pothead, sorry, you married a pothead. Okay? And you know what? I'm not saying that your husband should slap you down, but if your husband slaps you down and you call the cops, you're evil. Period. You're the one who's evil. Oh, you know, we're going to start hearing about all these horror stories coming out of the NIFB. You know, if I heard a story about a husband who slapped his wife down and she called the cops on him, that is a horror story. What an evil broad.
Do you know what is interesting about what he said? He just spoke the mind of the Christian brothers. Just tell me, how is what he said different from what Christian women have been practicing? How is his preaching different from what the church has been practicing? The church is totally against divorce. Should a woman report a drunk husband to a pastor, or a husband that batters her to her pastor, what kind of advice do you expect the pastor to give? Or what kind of advice would that pastor give? Stay back. You can't bring shame upon your family. You can't let people know what is going on. As a woman, it is your responsibility to cover your husband, cover the shame, curtail it. The public don't have to know. Go to God in prayers. Kneel and pray. Fast. Fast for your husband, because there's nothing God cannot do. I'm not saying that there is nothing God cannot do, but I'm just telling you the usual response they give to women. So tell me, how is that different from what he just said? It's the same. They expect women to stay put in a bad relationship. And the same group of men are the ones that blame women for choosing the wrong men. They are quick to say, oh, you chose the wrong person, so it is your cross, you should carry it. You cannot say that, honestly. I know people sometimes do see red flags, they do see working red billboard, and they choose to be with such men. Those are exceptions. What is common out there is this: people change. Women get into relationships with men with good intentions. They want to build a home. They want to support their partner. During the course of the relationship or marriage, they come to the realization that the man they thought they got married to is actually a different person from who they are in the marriage with. So you cannot blame someone else for someone else changing, if that makes sense. Change is constant. People change. People change for tangible reasons, unreasonable reasons. Some people don't even know why they change. And this is why I always say there is no guarantee in marriage. Anyone can change, including a woman. A woman can wake up and say, you know what, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be with you anymore. I want something different. So it's okay to walk away from a marriage or a relationship the moment that relationship or marriage stops serving you. You don't have to stay put there like our mothers did and like some Christian women are doing. You don't have to stay there to prove a point.
You are not allowed to refuse to get physical with your spouse. And look, I do not have to get my wife's permission to get physical with her.
Not there being men and women in my comments trying to tell me that women are not allowed to say no to their husbands.
I remember playing this last video clip a couple of months ago, maybe 2 months ago. So the reason why I played it right now is just to show you the pattern. The church, some religion, view women as slaves. They are happy when women don't have voice or we don't have voices. They prefer having women muted. They don't want to hear anything from us, don't care about how we feel. It's all about what they want, how they feel. To a lot of Christian men, women are supposed to be slaves to them. Not just the Christian men alone. A lot of men out there. Ask a man to describe what a good woman means or what a good woman is. That man will describe a slave.
Ask a man what he thinks a good woman is, and watch him describe a maid.
Let's watch some ladies react to Pastor Steve Anderson's video clip.
I'm not saying that your husband should slap you down, but if your husband slaps you down and you call the cops, you're evil.
So this is Pastor Steve Anderson, who has a very popular belief within Christian fundamentalism that a woman should not call the cops on her husband even if he's abusing her. She should not divorce him if he's abusing her. And this is John Anderson, Steve Anderson's son, talking about the first time he remembers his father beating his mother.
And I remember it was Easter Sunday, and we were all standing out in the front yard dressed up, and I could hear it happening for the first time.
And again, this is very popular in Christian fundamentalism and Christian nationalism. So they rely heavily on the Old Testament, which only allowed for a man to get divorced and could get divorced for any reason, leaving the woman impoverished most of the time. It was Jesus who changed the parameters of divorce to protect women. But Christian fundamentalists at a core level do not believe a woman should be able to vote. They believe her husband should vote for her. They do not believe a woman should be hell-bent on pursuing education, because they believe a woman should get married young, have kids young, and support and serve her husband, even though this puts her at risk for elder poverty later on. They do not believe in female bodily autonomy. They do not believe in marital rape, and they do not believe on a core value about consent, because women have no agency. Your virginity and your body belongs to your father until it is given to your husband later on. But they can't come out and say these things because they wouldn't get the vote. So we see this politically in different ways. No fault divorce, which they were very clear in Project 2025 they're going to get rid of. They can't come out and say they're going to get rid of it. Women would push back. So what do? They get rid of the resources that help women leave abusive husbands. SNAP benefits, Medicaid, Medicare, social services, even domestic violence shelters. Even in Oklahoma, they're getting rid of domestic violence shelters to put women in positions where they can't leave. Things like voting. They're not going to come out and say you can't vote. They're going to pass the SAVE Act, which means you have to get a passport they know most women don't have. She might not have access to resources to be able to buy it. It's a poll tax for married women to be able to vote. And even in the political spectrum, because they need women's free labor in order to push their agenda, they need women's votes, but they can't exclude women entirely. So they strategically place women like Caroline Leavitt, Kristi Noem, so that women think, oh, we're included in this movement. What those women are, they are the spoonful of sugar that helps a bitter medicine go down, that these people on a core level believe that you are less than men. They do not believe in women's equality. They do not believe in marital rape. They do not believe in consent, which is why they don't necessarily care about having abortion exceptions for rape and incest, because they still believe at a core level it's the woman's fault, it's a man's entitlement, and that a woman's body belongs to men. And remember that marriage counseling within the Christian community was founded by Paul Popenoe, who was an atheist, a white supremacist, and a eugenicist. And the only people that were radical enough to latch onto his ideas were evangelical pastors. And he taught them to teach that white women should never marry out of their race. They should not get divorced for any reason, that birth control was evil and against God's will. And he mentored James Dobson, who is the father of Christian family counseling.
I thought that when we get married, it's for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sicknesses and health, to love, cherish, and obey. And look, even if your marriage is messed up, you know what? You made your bed, lay in it. If you're married to a drunk, sorry, you're married to a drunk. If you're married to a pothead, sorry, you married a pothead. Okay? And you know what? I'm not saying that your husband should slap you down, but if your husband slaps you down and you call the cops, you're evil. Period. You're the one who's evil. Oh, we're going to start hearing about all these horror stories coming out of the NIFB. If I heard a story about a husband who slapped his wife down and she called the cops on him, that is a horror story. What an evil broad.
Quick, show me in the vows where it says you're going to love, honor, cherish someone, and accept abuse as your own fault for choosing them. And no, obeying and honoring is not the same as accepting abuse and taking no legal recourse, despite what POS Pastor Steven Anderson here of the Faithful Word Baptist Church would like you to believe. He is literally saying you're allowed to slap your wife down, and she is evil if she does anything about it. Imagine hearing this sermon, but then being shocked that women are leaving the church in droves and choosing not to get married. It's almost like a marriage certificate shouldn't be a license to hurting somebody. But let's be crystal clear. This is what they want on a governmental level when they talk about traditional family values. The value of a woman is nothing more than the property of her husband, and as property, he can do to you whatever he wants, and you have no legal recourse. That is what they want. And you know who's really listening to this message? It's the young men who are lonely. Because what they're hearing is, just get her to marry you. Then you can treat her however you want. And really, it's her fault for choosing you.
You are not allowed to refuse to get physical with your spouse. And look, I do not have to get my wife's permission to get physical with her.
Not there being men and women in my comments trying to tell me that women are not allowed to say no to their husbands. I feel like I've entered crazy town, so let's read a few of those unhinged comments. Coming from a woman, when you're married, you become one. The Bible says that we shouldn't deny our spouse intimacy, but we should definitely be respectful and loving about it. But what if you just gave birth? Are you allowed to say no? Or say your parent just passed away and you had to bury them that day. Are you allowed to say no? And if the answer is no, that you have to sleep with them, how do you lovingly and respectfully make somebody sleep with you? Marriage makes two people one under the eyes of the law. Do you know that marital rape is illegal? This guy is right. You are just a crying teenager who has no life experience. So you think I'm young? You are incorrect. If two people agree to be a part of a religion and follow that religion, then it is your choice. The Bible says spouses cannot deny each other. Christians let you live your life as you choose. Let Christians live theirs. If she says no, I will accept her no. We're on the right track. But then I will file for divorce, because why would I be with someone who doesn't want to be intimate? One time of saying no, we're getting divorced. I know I stitch a lot of crazy videos, and sometimes I get comments from people saying that Christians aren't actually like this and these people are just nut jobs. I think what you need to realize is that there are huge sectors of Christianity who do believe this. So once again, you did not purchase your wife.
Christianity is a tool for oppression. They used it to subdue women, not just women alone. Religion was used to colonize women and to colonize some nations. In Christianity, women are supposed to be the slave, and there is a serious brainwashing going on in religions, Christianity, Islam, and other religions. And that brainwashing was set in place to continuously subdue women, oppress women, and enslave women. Online, I've heard some people talk about the gender war. Oh, they think it is a distraction. Why are they trying to pit women and men against each other? It is not a distraction. This gender war has been in existence centuries ago, long time ago. Men captured women and enslaved us. We didn't start this war. We didn't start this conversation. It is something that has been in existence long time ago. We talking about it is just us creating awareness for women to understand the game men are all about.
Okay, so there's a problem here, and I get a lot of guys giving me this comment up here and talking about, why are you giving out the guy code? Why are you telling ladies the tricks we use on them? And you are exposing us. The truth of the matter is that real men treat women with honor. Real men treat women with respect. And they go out of their way to ensure that what they wouldn't want to be done to their sisters and their mothers, they would not do to other women. Over time, guys have got very toxic, learned manipulation. I don't even want to say guys or men. Let me say boys, because you can be a 50-year-old boy who resorts to lies, tricks, to get women to love them, to get women to fall for them, to get women to sleep with them, and then they call it the bro code. It's not the bro code. It's what Gen Zs call toxic masculinity, and what I downright call being a baby and being a little boy. So let's man up, let's treat people well. I'm not saying there are not bad ladies out there. There are ladies out there who sometimes are even worse than men, but the fact that someone is bad does not mean you need to be bad. Be true to yourself. So I don't agree with you.
Like he said, men were not happy with him because of what he does on his page. His page is about him enlightening women, making women understand the nature of men and what men are all about. So some group of men are not happy with what he's doing. This goes to show that men are very much aware. They know what they do to women. They intentionally hurt women. It's all game for them. It's all captivity. You know how masters treat their slaves. You know how nations treat nations that they captured. The same applies here. Or we have to make sure we subdue them so they don't rise above us. That's exactly what is going on here when it comes to a man and a woman relationship. When it comes to the patriarchy kind of marriage, the patriarchy kind of relationship, the mindset is for men to continuously subdue women so women don't rise above them. Should a woman work hard to rise above a man, it is any man's duty to suppress that woman, to subdue that woman. It also explains why men are so happy to humble women they don't know anything about. It explains why a lot of men out there are very upset when they see a successful woman, because to them, a woman is not supposed to be successful. The moment she becomes successful, that's she breaking free from the captivity. This is what plays in their head. This is how they reason.
I lost my childhood best friend because I held him accountable. So I was hanging out at his apartment. He was living with his girlfriend at the time, and we chilled for a few hours. Didn't notice any tension, didn't really feel like anything was going on. Of course, we're just shooting the shit and, everything seems fine. I went to leave And as I shut the door and I start walking to my car, I suddenly hear his girlfriend scream out for me. And so I go running back in, bust through the door, and he's on top of her. Of course, I'm trying to process this all in real time. So my immediate response was to grab him, throw him off of her, separate them, defuse the situation. I ask her to pack up her stuff and leave. She leaves. She goes to her friend's house. I sit with him. I talk with him. Still in shock at what I just witnessed. That's the first and only time I've ever seen any form of potential DV, anything like that. And I immediately get angry and I'm like, I don't know what happened, but whatever that was, that is not okay. And that can never happen again. Of course, you know, things are up here, finally get them to here, and then I leave. After that, our friendship was never the same. It just ended up to where I didn't see him for years at a time, and we lived in the same town. There's a lot of discourse going on about this topic, and I think a lot of people are projecting their different traumatic experiences in ways that aren't being helpful, because I think fundamentally we know we can't protect or defend every act that someone commits. But what we can do is not only be the best version of ourselves for ourselves and those that we care about, but in situations that you could potentially express indifference. I think that's where men could do a little bit more. And I think the guys that are coming to the defense with a mindset of, well, I don't know these people, why should I hold them accountable? No one's asking you to seek them out. But what you can do is continue to be an example of a quality individual, and hopefully that shuts that down or at least decreases it. You know, we're never going to fully stop these things. But I think there are subtle things that you may thought were a big deal that ended up leading to something worse later that you could have prevented. My story being an example of that. I'm sure there will be follow-up questions about her, so I'll just add it at the end of this video. She left very shortly after that, is now happily married and has found her peace, and I'm proud of her for that. I try to approach conversations like this by remaining in the scope of discussion, which is men. But what I will say in regards to women is when you find yourself in a situation like that, it is always best to leave sooner than later, because nothing is most likely ever going to change. You have people that care about you. You have people that will support you. You have people that will help you. Go there. You're not changing that person. They have to change on their own. So the best thing you can do is protect yourself.
I made a post a couple days ago that's going viral because I told women to give men full custody and they should stop asking for child support. And I thought like a whole bunch of men would be like, yeah, in agreement, because like all I hear Pearl Davis say is that women are greedy and they're money hungry bitches who want to suck men dry. Y'all, why was they cussing me out? All the men in the comments was cussing me out, saying I'm punishing the baby, we're selfish, I'm evil. Like, they was cussing me out in the comments. Why? Why am I the motherfucker? Because wait, I thought you guys said single mothers was trash. Was sorry ass bitch whore. Hungry whore. Because I'm a S worker and you know I know the game. A lot of times men are mad at S workers because we're finally speaking. Because we know the game. We hear the truth. And now we're regurgitating it to women. They don't want full custody. They like their lives. They like their lives. They just like making you feel like you're doing something wrong because it makes them feel like they have some control. They really don't want their children. Those kids that you guys all had, they don't really want them. They don't even love those kids. I'm telling you guys right now, more women should give full custody to men. If more women gave full custody to men, I bet you all these fuck rules, all these fuck regulations, it would change. it would change. If more women gave full custody to their husbands, their boyfriends, their baby dad, whatever, the world would change very fucking quickly. Especially black men. Especially black men. Give them full custody.
Please let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. And if you'd love to watch more videos like this, click this video to watch a man ask a lady he took on a date to refund him because she refused following him home to go watch a movie. We know what that means. He wants sex. She refused, so he got upset. And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.